Well, black people, we gotta realize that nobody's gonna care about how we feel but us. We're the only one who cares about how we feel. We're the only ones who care about all the things that we're experiencing, the things that we dealt with. So we're the only ones that can support ourselves when it comes to that. So we have to stop screaming to the world what we feel, and we need to start taking what we feel, and then we need to have the proper means to be able to put these things out there to the world as a collective in a proper manner, because a lot of people, in the conscious community, they are trying to help people. They're just trying to empower people by educating. They're trying to give them a sense of self-worth and teach them something, a way to have pride in themselves, a way to have pride in their culture, and a way to understand that we are great people and that we are capable of doing anything that we put our minds to, regardless of the things that has been stereotyped and labeled on us to be. We are greater than that, and we already see that every day because we survive the unimaginable. We make it through some of the toughest conditions, and a lot of people wouldn't make it through the things that we made it to. So we are great people, and we have to support ourselves in that. So we gotta educate ourselves. We gotta make ourselves better, get better financial understanding. We gotta get economically more intelligent, because we're a people that's being exploited for our funds. We spend a massive amount of money, but we don't spend it within our own communities. We don't circulate it amongst ourselves, but we're the most unemployed group. So that's because we're unable to employ ourselves. We're continuing to rely on another culture and other people to supply our needs. And that is something that we have to change. It really ended up hurting us. But it wasn't just about the integration. I mean, it was a lot of other little things that capitalized on it. But when we integrated, we didn't integrate with the mindset of a collective people. We didn't integrate with our own culture intact. We integrated, and we basically merged within that culture. We actually wanted to become white mentally because we were still psychologically damaged. Because at the other end of the spectrum, that's why white people have to do better. I'm gonna say this: white people, y'all gotta do better. If y'all want us to be better, then y'all gotta really show us that y'all really do want to help us, like y'all say y'all want to help us. And y'all gotta educate y'all people too. Y'all gotta educate y'all kids, because they don't know any more than our people don't know. You really have people sitting here thinking that black people have not contributed to society. Like, this is an actual thing that people think. So we have to recognize it first, because we have to understand that we were enslaved, and then we were forced to live with those who enslaved us. And it was like, we were free, but nobody really sat us down and helped us. Nobody addressed any type of psychological issues or any of that. And I think that is in part to the fact that that really didn't begin to advance until later on, afterwards. But yet and still, that's why we as black people, that's why we gotta go back and be responsible enough to decipher through the information. Because the information is there now, and we just gotta take that information and apply it. Because I was just reading a story the other day that was talking about how scientists, it is a scientific fact now that, you know, um, traumatic experiences is passed down through your genetics. So we got to think about all the psychological, trauma, all the things that we endured from our ancestors back then that's been continued to be handed down. It's transgenerational. And they know that this is there, but no one really wants to apply this when it comes to us as a collective, as a people. See, this is where we have to be responsible, and we have to get out of our emotions. And then that's when we got to do our homework and we got to do our work. That's when we got to educate ourselves, because truthfully, nobody is going to save us but us. And black people have to stop thinking that somebody else is going to save them. That mentality is what is continuing to keep us in the position that we are in. Because, yeah, that's why so many people are complacent. They sit and just wait and just, we can't keep doing it. We have to know that no one is saving us but ourselves. So we gotta stop looking out all the time, and we gotta do that as individuals too. So as far as how things, I mean, it's very possible that it can change. A lot of things has to be overthrown when it comes to the education system. Like I said, teach real history, teach the real history. Not this stuff that people are learning today. Like, this isn't written. No, teach real history. Give some, we need to self-educate ourselves financially. Certain cultures do that amongst themselves. And we have to know that we have the right to do that. But see, that goes back to a slavery thinking, because we couldn't assemble when we were slaves, because the slave master didn't want us getting any big ideas. So we couldn't assemble and do things to uplift ourselves. We had to do these things in secret. So we gotta understand the mentality that we are still continuing to deal with today, that goes all the way back to the plantation. So this is what we have to do as a people for ourselves, and nobody else is gonna do it for us, because like I said, we're being exploited by the world. So if it's a conflict of interest, you understand what I'm saying? We have to use who we are and our money as the leverage. If you want our money, then there has to be something in return for us. We need to do this, and we need to understand that when you get knowledge of self, when you get a sense of pride in yourself, and you really learn who you are, like Malcolm did, and like when you do that, that gives you the will to want to stand for who you are. That gives you a sense of value. That gives you a sense of purpose. So that's what I think that we really have to do as a people, and as a people, as Black people, because we have to understand that we have, as a collective, we have dealt with certain things as a collective. So what we gotta do is, as Black people, there's things that we have to do. There's things that that the nation itself, as in America, has to do, because this is just continuing to be perpetuated. You keep seeing the same stereotypes. You keep getting the same type of news stories all the time. You keep getting fed the same stereotypes. But what we as a people, as far as the American people, have to understand is that it's all about the capitalization of it at the end of the day. Everybody is really being manipulated. So it takes a lot of work to be able to get Black people out of seeing the white man as the enemy, because we've been so wrong, and it's never really been accounted for. And we have, as a people, like I said, we have to psychologically heal ourselves. And once we can do that, we can approach things in a certain manner, and then they're not going to have any choice but to respect what it is that we bring to the table, because we really have the ability to function within ourselves. We can really do that. So, when it boils down to it, everybody want to continue to feed their family at the end of the day. So, you really think that somebody's going to choose to not feed their family just because your skin is Black? And that it's not going to matter then. The only color that really is mattering is green, because if you got the green, hey, they're not going to really care about it at the end of the day. I mean, we can judge that how we want to amongst our own moral codes, or however you want to look at that. But the issue is, a lot of us are religiously programmed to be, in a poverty mindset. We're programmed a certain way to view things so that we can, hold a certain place within society. But if we no longer want to be in that place in society, then we have to accept that we got to change some things that we believe in. Now, that's something that's going to be the hardest thing for Black people to do. And we got to ask ourselves, are we ready for that? So, that's just how I see that in reference to the Black community, conscious community, racism. That's how I really see that, man. This is all the matrix. Like, it's really all the game, at the end of the day, because the people at the very, very top, who we want to call them, whoever they might be, it doesn't matter who's really beefing with each other, because I'm just going to capitalize off of the beef. I'm just going to make sure that you beefing at the end of the day, because I benefit off of it. So, we got to ask ourselves what we really want.
Put your hands on me, I'ma do the shit back to back. Fuck the police.
What he gonna say? Cause I can see them headlights coming my way, and I can tell he mad by the side of my race. Put the flashlight right up on the side of my face.